Let's go Broncos! Things are starting to get heated behind the scenes at the Denver Broncos, and Sean Payton is determined to take the team to the playoffs. Man, I really believe that we're going to make it. And my bets go even further. I believe in the Super Bowl. If you also believe that we're going to make it to the playoffs, hit the like button hard. If possible, write something like, "Go Broncos! I believe!" The Denver Broncos' last game really shook up fans and left everyone with questions about the team's future. After a heartbreaking overtime loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, things have changed completely. With a chance of making the playoffs still alive, the defense's performance, the offensive choices, and the team's overall preparation are being questioned a lot. Let's understand what this means for Broncos fans and how the team can still fight for a spot in the postseason. This loss to the Bengals marked the third game in December in which Denver's defense allowed 30 or more points. While some may be quick to place the blame solely on the defense, it's worth noting their resilience in holding off key players like Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase for most of the game. After 4 quarters, the Bengals had scored 24 points, adding in overtime inevitably tilted the score even further in their favor. It's clear that fatigue played a role, as the defense was stretched to its limits over the course of 5 quarters. Still, the flaws in Denver's ability to consistently hold its own in crucial games are glaring. The offensive play calling by head coach Sean Payton is another point of contention. Early in the game, the Broncos' offensive strategy was dominated by short passes and screens rather than testing the Bengals' secondary with deep plays. This conservative approach allowed the Bengals' defense, which ranks low in the NFL, to crowd the line of scrimmage and restrict Denver's options. It wasn't until later that Marvin Mims delivered 2 crucial touchdowns, highlighting what could have been achieved had the Broncos adopted a more aggressive vertical passing game earlier. Payton's decision to kick the extra point and push for overtime instead of going for a 2-point conversion has sparked debate. At the time, the move made strategic sense. Denver's defense stepped up, forcing the Bengals to miss a chip shot field goal. However, when the Broncos' offense got its chance in overtime, it faltered, failing to capitalize on the opportunities created by their defense. Inability to execute under pressure, particularly in running situations where the defense knows what's coming, has plagued the team for weeks. This issue reared its head again, as Denver failed to gain the critical first downs needed to close out the game. Looking ahead, Denver still has a lifeline. The playoff picture is shaping up with several teams on the brink of elimination. The Colts and Dolphins face do-or-die games, and losses for either would give the Broncos a clearer path to the postseason. The Kansas City Chiefs, Denver's opponent in the final game of the season, may rest key starters like Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones, presenting a golden opportunity for the Broncos to secure a win. However, Carson Wentz, likely filling in for Mahomes, will undoubtedly view this game as a chance to prove his worth, adding an unpredictable challenge. If the Dolphins and Colts both lose their games, the scenario simplifies. A Broncos win in Week 18 would guarantee a playoff spot. Even if Denver loses to the Chiefs, they might sneak in if the Bengals fall to the Steelers. The complexity of the situation underscores how every play, every decision, and every effort in the final game will be crucial. This is the moment that defines seasons and legacies. The Broncos are just one win away from potentially clinching their first postseason berth since 2015. But it's also a moment where missteps, like those seen in the last few games, can extinguish playoff hopes. Confidence in the team is mixed, with many fans cautiously optimistic but aware of the hurdles. Now, Broncos country, it's your turn. How do you rate Denver's chances against the Chiefs in Week 18? Can they rise to the occasion and finally break their playoff drought? Share your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. We're eager to hear from you. For the Broncos, this is more than just a game. It's a test of their resilience, focus, and ability to learn from recent mistakes. The pieces are in place, but execution has been the Achilles heel, particularly in crunch time. Let's dive deeper into what needs to change for Denver to seize this moment and punch their ticket to the playoffs. One critical area is the running game. Time and again, the Broncos have struggled to close out games when their running attack becomes predictable. The inability to secure just 10 yards in 3 attempts during overtime against the Bengals is emblematic of a larger issue. When defenses stack the box, Denver's offensive line has not been able to create the necessary gaps. If this pattern continues, it will limit the team's ability to control the clock and secure close wins, especially in high-stakes environments like the playoffs. The coaching staff must find creative ways to diversify their rushing approach or lean more effectively on play action to keep the defense guessing. Another focal point should be the passing game. While Marvin Mims shined with 2 touchdown receptions late against the Bengals, this aggressiveness in attacking downfield was conspicuously absent in the early stages of the game. The question is whether Sean Payton will adjust his game plan against the Chiefs. Kansas City, even with backups on the field, is unlikely to hand Denver a win without a fight. The Chiefs' coaching staff, led by Andy Reid, is known for exploiting opponents' weaknesses and maintaining a high level of competitiveness regardless of the stakes. Denver must come out swinging, utilizing its talented receivers and testing Kansas City's secondary early and often. Defensively, Denver faces the challenge of maintaining consistency across all four quarters and potentially beyond. While the unit has shown flashes of brilliance, such as forcing critical turnovers and making key stops, they have also been prone to lapses in high-pressure moments. Against Kansas City, even if Mahomes sits out, the defense will need to account for players eager to prove their value. A turnover or two could be the difference maker, but discipline and effective communication in the secondary will be equally important to avoid giving up big plays. The stakes of this game are immense. A win would not only mark a turning point for the franchise, but also restore a sense of pride and momentum heading into the postseason. It's not just about XS and OS. It's about heart, determination, and a refusal to back down when the odds seem stacked. This is the kind of game where leaders step up, and every player, from the starters to special teams, has the opportunity to etch their name into Broncos lore. Adding to the drama is the uncertainty surrounding other teams' performances. The Dolphins are without Tua Tagovailoa and will face a tough Browns defense. Meanwhile, the Colts are on the brink of elimination and could bow out with a loss. If both teams falter, Denver's path becomes less convoluted, but nothing is guaranteed until the final whistle blows. Every fan will be scoreboard watching, adding another layer of tension and excitement to an already nail-biting Week 18. As the clock ticks down to game day, Broncos fans will be holding their breath, hoping this team can overcome the inconsistencies that have haunted them. The promise of playing meaningful football in January is tantalizingly close, but it requires a complete performance against a division rival that would love nothing more than to spoil Denver's season. So, Broncos country, the stage is set. The lights will be bright, the stakes higher than ever. What are your keys to victory for this team? Can they finally overcome their late-game struggles and claim their place among the NFL's postseason contenders? And how do you feel about facing Carson Wentz instead of Patrick Mahomes? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's get ready for what promises to be an unforgettable showdown. This is your moment, Broncos Nation, let's ride! As the final whistle approaches in this critical Week 18 matchup, the Denver Broncos find themselves at a crossroads. This isn't just about earning a playoff berth, it's a chance to rewrite the narrative of resilience, execution, and belief. Every decision, every play, and every ounce of effort will define the team's legacy in a season filled with both promise and frustration. For the players, this is a moment to rise above missed opportunities and capitalize on the lessons learned. The offensive line must find its rhythm, the defense must dig deep, and coaching decisions must be bold yet calculated. Meanwhile, fans, who have endured the highs and lows of this journey, will once again pack the stadium or gather around screens, hoping for a storybook finish to the regular season. Win or lose, this game represents the culmination of months of preparation and determination. It's not just about making the playoffs, it's about proving that the Denver Broncos are ready to reclaim their place as contenders. Broncos country, the moment is now. How will it end?